If you're growing zucchini this year and you've been Googling what to do with all these zucchini, then this summer meatloaf is for you.
And you can trick your family into eating tons of vegetables that they have no clue about.
True. My partner ate this, had no clue.
Tricking a lot of people.
This recipe you're gonna love because when it comes to using zucchini, Key always says, and I completely agree, we're not into those recipes that are just using one zucchini. You got a lot on your hands here. You gotta get rid of them a lot.
Yes, hence why I'm getting rid of them by giving mine to you.
Okay, so that's right. So I welcomed a lot of Key zucchinis to my home. I literally was like, yeah, give them to me. I'll make short work of them. I had no plan for this. So I literally was like, what can I do with 3 zucchini? Because you hooked me up with a lot.
And there's a lot more coming, so please eat up.
I will, and I'm definitely gonna be making this again because it was so easy and so flavorful. So get out your food processor and start buzzing away. We're buzzing up these zucchini into basically shredded territory.
I like that you're using the food processor because it might seem like an extra work to get it out and wash it.
But I always think that.
It saves you so much time,
It
it's worth
does.
it.
Every single time I'm like, I should use this thing more often. Now, Key also hooked me up with carrots from her garden. So I'm like, let's just make this a garden fresh meatloaf here.
You're forgetting the shallots.
The shallots as well.
And
There's
the garlic.
shallots in there too. No.
It's not my garlic?
Not your garlic, baby. You didn't give it to me yet at this
Oh,
point.
I thought I did.
No, this is the good stuff.
No. You're gonna wreck this with your jarred garlic.
Okay, so you can see I buzzed this up into pureed territory, basically.
We got
Almost
ourselves a
pureed.
paste.
Yes, it's a paste. Okay, so since we're making a meatloaf in here, we're gonna add an egg to bind everything. That's typical.
Mm-hmm.
That's typical. And then we're going in with one of my favorite ingredients. Oh wait, no, here comes the oats. But okay, after that is when I'm going in one of my favorite ingredients. This is a cup of oats. That might seem like a lot, but zucchini are very wet.
It definitely, and adding oats to meatloaf is a fantastic way to stretch out the portions.
It bulks it up.
It bulks it up. And
It healths it up.
It does. And it ends up feeding a lot more people when you don't have to use a lot more pricey meat.
Exactly. So then we're going in with some barbecue rub because barbecue rub is not just to be put on the outside of meat and veg. Put it in your recipes. Even cookies with barbecue rub, some cookies, some chocolate. Yes, definitely some chocolate chip cookies. Yes.
No.
Now here is my favorite ingredient, the jarred garlic.
Ew.
You didn't give me your garlic yet, buddy. You went in with a lot of it too. Okay, now you might be looking at this and being like, that is a lot of veg. It's a lot of concoction here of zucchini, carrots, and shallots. And it is. The ratio here with the meat is kind of confusing because it looks like it's not enough meat. But I don't know about you, meatloaf is one of those recipes where because beef has such a delicious, bold flavor, it overpowers everything that you add into it anyway. It's still gonna taste beefy, it's still gonna taste delicious, but it's gonna have in it tons and tons of veg that nobody will ever know it's in there.
And they will also provide a lot of flavor.
See, look, that ratio looks hilarious.
It looks like it's not gonna work.
Yes. Even I thought that when I was starting to mix it, I'm like, okay, this looks like it's not right here. But once you get mixing, you see that it does work. It totally works. And what I also like about the oats is that it soaks up all the delicious juices from the veg. So you don't need to take that extra step where sometimes you're making zucchini bread or zucchini cake, like, you know, those zucchini chocolate cakes. You have to squeeze out the liquid. Here you don't. So it's super quick.
And I feel like the oats will also absorb the fat from the beef as well. So it's not going to end up in the pan.
Yes. So
it's not going to shrink.
I know. Okay, so like right now here, you doubled your amount of meat.
Yeah, that looks like
basically.
And with it all stirred in like that, it does look like it's blending perfectly. A question for you. When you're making a meatloaf, do you do the thing that like chefs recommend where you take one little bit and you fry it in a pan to check for seasoning?
Absolutely not.
I don't ever do that either.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I can smell when something's been properly seasoned. I have smelled it. It smelled perfectly seasoned. I did not need to do that. Now, what I always do when it comes to meatloaf is I always make one to have and make one for the freezer. So I'm making 2 here because I love a meatloaf sandwich. There's nothing better than taking out a frozen meatloaf, chopping that up, and having it in a sandwich. So I always do 2 here.
I also like that you lined that the roasting pan I should have done that.
Okay, but did you see? I started off with the grate, because I was like, I want it to be on there so that the smoke could permeate around it. However, this meatloaf was so malleable because there's a lot of veg in there. It wasn't gonna hold up on there.
You ditched it.
Yeah, I ditched it immediately, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna form it right on here, and that's what I did.
But I do like that you lined it with foil because it does make for a way easier clean.
Yeah, you don't have to clean it up. You don't have to wash it. You just take it out and you're good to go. Now, what I would say is, if you're gonna do this, also line it with parchment. I forgot to do that, and I am a huge proponent of using parchment paper because parchment paper makes it so nothing sticks. There was some stickage here. That's what happens when you don't use parchment paper.
But I find that parchment on the bottom of something meat, like any meat that you're cooking, it prevents it from getting nicely browned too.
I haven't noticed that.
Because sometimes I like to go just on foil or just on a pan because I feel like parchment is adds a lot of steam. I don't know why, but I feel like parchment is adds a lot of wetness.
I use it on everything because I can't stand stickage in the oven.
Neither can I.
Okay, so there's our two perfectly formed summertime meatloaf, and I think that you can understand why I'm calling it summertime because it's basically summer veg in a meatloaf, which is delectable. We're cooking on the Ninja Woodfire outdoor oven, and I've been known to forget the wood fire function. I wasn't going to forget it today.
Oh no, I'm so glad you didn't because that's what's going to make this meatloaf.
And I also have forgotten to empty the little hopper thing.
I do that too.
Okay, so you just take a little look in there, see if there's some remaining ash, dust it out, and then just load it back up with your pellets, which that's a full cup of pellets.
I like though to empty it out though. You literally just blow them to the wind.
Exactly.
You don't have to do anything. It's nothing special. It's nothing extravagant.
No, it's not a huge cleanup.
No.
Now I'm using the bake function, set it to 375, and I always like to give myself a little extra time because you don't know how long things are gonna take. We're new to this cooker. Sometimes things cook very fast, sometimes they don't. So I always like to give myself a little bit more time. Set it to an hour, waited for the preheat, got it into the oven.
Well, these look good already.
I like that shape for a meatloaf. You know, sometimes people just hunk them on there. You gotta make it a even shape.
That looks like a giant foot. The shape.
Because that's what I was going for. That sounds putrid and disgusting.
I feel like if you added on some toes, you'd got yourself like a Halloween meatloaf. It looks like a big foot to me. But in a good way.
So you don't want to forget to press the start button on this cooker, which I have almost done before.
Yes.
So make sure you press start. I had to check this thing a couple minutes in. It was already looking delectable.
I bet that smelled incredible. Something about vegetables cooking in a meatloaf changes the smell compared to just meat on its own.
However, though, you can see looking at this, people, if they didn't know that veg were in there, you would never know.
No, absolutely not. Okay, so 45 minutes later, not a ton of time.
No, not a ton of time. And look at how golden brown that is. Now, with a traditional meatloaf, I like a glaze. You don't have to do a glaze, but I love a glaze. I use this stuff called America's Chutney. We are new to this product, and we can't stop putting it on everything.
It's so good.
And I thought that was it's obviously chutney is very sweet. I thought that would make for a perfect glaze, and I was right.
Yes, it's like we're new to chutneys, period. It's like a cross between a plum sauce and a barbecue sauce and a ketchup and like a jam.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I don't know if that's sounding good, but you're nailing it, buddy.
It's like a it's like a sweet, kind of acidic, very sweet, but kind of acidic.
There's also something else in there that I don't know what it is.
I know.
And normally I can tell.
I think it's tamarind.
Okay, because it's definitely an ingredient that we don't typically cook with.
I think I'm gonna go out on a limb here and give it a tamarind.
Okay, I think that you're right because it does have a little bit of that bitter, soury kind of, but like in a good way.
Yes, and I agree with you. I think a glaze on a meatloaf is a necessary step.
To me, it's mandatory. You don't have to do it, but to me, I think it's good. And remember, only do this step right at the end, okay? Because most glazes have a lot of sugar in them, this thing is highly, highly sweet. It will burn if you put that on at the beginning. So this only needed 5 minutes to get to that gorgeous golden brown.
It looks fantastic, and I love that when you add a glaze and you give it 5 minutes, the glaze, some of the liquid evaporates in it and it just jellies down.
It's like a candy layer. It's like a peachy candy layer. Yeah. How's that not gonna be delectable?
That looks so good.
I'm not gonna lie, the smell's roaming around my backyard. I was like, I'm so proud of that smell. I'm so proud that smell is coming out of my backyard.
Guaranteed people were like, what is that? Where is that coming from? I'm glad that you did make a second one because that's gonna make a phenomenal sando.
Can you even tell that veg are in there?
Not even 1%.
The people that don't like Zook, mainly kids, kids don't like Zook for some reason.
No, there's a lot of adults that don't like it too. A lot of adults think it tastes like nothing, it's watery.
Well, it does taste like nothing, so how can you not like it?
But a lot of people that don't like it, don't like zucchini, haven't had them prepared in a dish like this.
Exactly. It's very bland, but it's very fibrous. So to me, it makes sense to go into a meatloaf. It was super delicious, very moist. If you've ever worried about dried meatloaf before, do this because it's not ever going to become dry.
So zucchini's like the new moist maker.
Yes.
I think it totally is.
But with the oats, and if you're like, are the oats going to make it dry? No, the zucchini, the carrots, the shallots, the oats, they made this like delectable, flavorful, mildly flavorful because it's not like you can taste that so much. It made a mildly flavorful paste that just complemented so well with the beef. Come on, you're telling me everybody in your family's not gonna love that.
Okay, so if you're swimming in zucchini this summer, forget the zucchini bread, forget the zucchini muffins.
Well, no. Let's be real here. I ain't ever gonna forget a zucchini muffin.
You know what? I haven't made a zucchini muffin yet.
I was with you, but then I was like, I could go for that right now.
Now I'm like, I kind of want one.